The Zephyrian research ship Gentle Current floated in the black space between the stars. Its blue crystal hull was cracked in 3 places, and precious air was leaking out into the cold emptiness. Captain Veltar pressed her long fingers against the main control panel, watching the red warning lights flash across her ship's systems. "Status report," she called to her crew. Her voice was calm, but her large silver eyes showed worry. "Hull breach in sections 4 and 7, reported Engineer Kexrin from his station. "Life support is holding, but we're losing atmosphere fast. The main engines are completely dead." Science Officer Nixera looked up from her damaged console. "The attack destroyed our jump drive too. We're stranded here, Captain." Veltar nodded. Slowly, 3 hours ago, they had been peacefully studying the ancient ruins on the dead planet below. Her team of researchers had been so excited about their discoveries. The ruins were older than any civilization in the known galaxy, and they held secrets that could change everything. Then the pirates came. The Korthok. Empire ships had appeared without warning, dropping out of hyperspace like metal sharks.
I was there.
Leader, a brutal creature named Thrakgor, had demanded that the Zephyrians surrender all their research data and valuable equipment. When Veltar refused, the pirates opened fire. The Zephyrians were a peaceful people. Their ships were built for exploration, not war. The Gentle Current had only basic shields meant to protect against space dust and small meteors. Against military weapons, they were useless. Captain called Communications Officer Lenara. "I'm ready to send the distress signal." "Do it," Veltar ordered. "Send it on all Galactic Council frequencies." The message was simple and standard. It contained their location, their situation, and a request for immediate help from any Council member species. The Zephyrians had faith. In the system, Galactic Council was made up of over 30 peaceful species who had learned to work together. When one member was in trouble, the others always came to help. The signal went out across space, traveling at light speed toward the nearest Council worlds. Help would come. It always did. But the pirates were not gone. They had pulled back too, a safe distance, waiting and watching. Thrakgor was smart enough to know that other ships might respond to the distress call. He wanted to see who would come before making his next move. "How long until help arrives?" asked Engineer Kexrin. "The nearest Council patrol is 3 days away," Lenara replied, "but there might be other ships closer." Veltar looked at her damaged ship and injured crew. 3 days was too long. Their life support would fail in 2 days at most. They needed help now. 20 minutes later, their communication system crackled to life. But the voice that came through was unlike anything they had ever heard. "Unknown vessel, this is Captain Jake Morrison of the UES Ranger. We have received your distress. Call and are coming to help you. Hold on tight." The voice was deep and rough, speaking Galactic Standard with a strange accent. The words were correct, but the way they were said was different from any known species. "US," whispered Nixara. "What does that stand for?" "I don't know," Veltar admitted. "I've never heard of it before." She activated the reply channel. "US. Ranger, this is Captain Veltar of the Zephyrian research vessel Gentle Current. We are grateful for your response. Please be warned that hostile ships are in this area." "Understood, Captain Veltar. We'll be there in 15 minutes. Can you tell us about these hostile ships?" 3 Korthok Empire vessels, heavy cruiser. Class, they attacked us without warning and may still be nearby. There was a pause, then the strange voice came back, and now it sounded different. Colder, more dangerous Korthok pirates. "Got it, we'll handle them. Just keep your people safe." The channel went quiet. Veltar looked at her crew, seeing her own confusion reflected in their faces. "Captain," said Navigation Officer Zixrin, "our sensors are picking up something. A large ship is approaching at high speed." "How large?" "Very large. 3 times our size, maybe more. And Captain, the energy readings are strange. I've never seen anything like them." Veltar moved to the sensor station and looked at the display. The approaching ship was indeed massive, much bigger than any Council vessel she knew. But more concerning were the energy signatures it was giving off. The ship was clearly armed, heavily armed, with weapons that didn't match any known technology. kind of being builds a ship like that? She wondered aloud. Maybe we should ask them to identify themselves, suggested Nixera. Before Veltar could respond, their sensors screamed a warning. 3 shapes were appearing on the edge of their detection. Range, the Korthok pirates were back, and they had been waiting. Captain, called Zixrin, the pirates are decloaking. They're moving to intercept the ship that's coming to help us. Veltar's heart sank. The unknown ship was coming to rescue them, but it was flying into a trap. 3 Korthok war cruisers. Against 1 unknown vessel, no matter how large, seemed like poor odds. Try to warn them, she ordered. U.S. Ranger, this is Gentle Current. Be advised, 3 hostile ships are moving to intercept you. They appear to be setting up an ambush. The response came back immediately, and now the human voice sounded almost cheerful. Thanks for the heads up, Captain. See them on our sensors. Don't worry about us. But there are 3 of them, and they're heavily armed. It's okay, we've faced worse odds before. There was something in the way the human said it that made Veltar's scales tingle. It wasn't boasting or false confidence. It was the calm certainty of someone who had been in many fights and won them all. Captain, said Engineer Kexrin, I'm reading massive energy buildup from the unknown ship. Whatever they're doing, they're powering up for something big. Through the main view screen, they could see the approaching vessel now. It was dark metal, angular, and aggressive-looking. Unlike the smooth, curved ships of the Council races, this one looked like it had been built for war. Weapon ports dotted. Its hull and strange energy fields flickered around its edges. By the stars, breathed Nixera. What kind of people build ships like that? The kind that survive, Veltar said quietly. She didn't know how she knew that, but something deep in her genetic memory was telling her that the beings on that ship were predators. Not evil, but definitely dangerous. The Korthok pirates were moving into position now. There were 3 ships forming a triangle around the approaching rescue vessel. Thrakagor's voice came over the open channel. Unknown ship, you are interfering with a legal salvage operation. Turn around and leave, or be destroyed. The human captain's response was immediate and cold as space itself. Korthok vessel, this is Captain Morrison of the Terran Federation. You are attacking a peaceful research ship under the protection of the Galactic Council. Stand down immediately or face the consequences. Terran Federation? Thrakor laughed. Never heard of it. Prepare to die, fool. The pirates opened fire. The space around the Gentle Current exploded with light and energy. The 3 Korthok pirate ships fired everything they had at the approaching human vessel. Plasma beams and missile trails filled the darkness as the pirates tried to destroy the unknown ship before it could reach the damaged Zephyrian research vessel. Captain Veltar watched her screens in horror. The human ship was outnumbered 3-1, and the Korthok weapons were military grade. No single ship should be able to survive that much firepower, but the human ship did survive. Blue energy fields surrounded the dark vessel like a protective shell. The pirate weapons hit these shields and simply disappeared, their energy absorbed and scattered harmlessly into space. The human ship didn't even slow down. It's impossible, whispered Engineer Kexrin. Those shields are absorbing everything. Much power does that ship have? Before anyone could answer, the human ship fired back. The Zephyrians had never seen weapons like these before. Instead of energy beams or explosive missiles, the human ship shot solid metal objects. But these weren't ordinary projectiles. They moved so fast that they were just streaks of light, and when they hit the first pirate ship, the results were devastating. The metal slug punched through the Korthok shields like they weren't even there. It tore through the hull, ripped through the ship's interior, and struck the main reactor. The pirate vessel exploded in a ball of white fire that lit up the entire area. One shot, breathed Science Officer Nixera. They destroyed a heavy cruiser with one shot. The remaining 2 pirate ships stopped firing. Even over the radio, they could hear the shock in Thrakagor's voice. What kind of weapon was that? Our shields should have stopped any projectile. Human captain's voice came back, calm and cold. Kinetic weapons. We shoot very heavy objects very fast. Your energy shields don't work against solid matter moving at 12% of light speed. 12% of light speed? Veltar couldn't believe what she was hearing. The energy required to accelerate matter to that velocity was enormous. What kind of technology did these humans possess? The second pirate ship tried to run, but the human vessel was faster. It caught up to the fleeing Korthok ship and fired. Again, this time, the metal slug didn't destroy the target completely. Instead, it crippled the pirate vessel's engines and left it drifting helplessly. "This is your only warning," the human captain said. "Take your damaged ship and leave. If we see you in this system again, we'll finish what we started." The third pirate ship, with Thrakgor aboard, was already turning to flee. "This isn't over, demons. The Empire will remember this." "Good," came the human reply. "Make sure they remember to stay away from peaceful ships." The pirates jumped to hyperspace, leaving the battlefield empty except for the Zephyrian research vessel and the mysterious human ship. In less than 5 minutes, the humans had won a fight that should have been impossible. "Gentle Current, this is Captain Morrison. Are you safe? Do you need immediate medical assistance?" Veltar realized she had been holding her breath. "We're safe for now, Captain Morrison. We have injured crew members, but no one is in immediate danger. Our main concern is life support failure. Understood. We're coming alongside now. Prepare to receive our repair teams." The human ship moved closer, and for the first time, the Zephyrians could see it clearly. It was massive, easily 3 times the size of their research vessel. The hull was dark gray metal with angular edges and no curves at all. Weapon ports dotted its surface, and strange antenna arrays stuck out from various points. It looked like a machine built for war, Captain, said Communications Officer Linara. "They're requesting permission to dock and come aboard." "Permission granted," Veltar replied. She was curious about these humans, despite being slightly frightened by their ship's appearance. 20 minutes later, Veltar stood in the main airlock as the human boarding party came aboard. She had expected aliens like the other council species, but the humans were something entirely different. They were tall, much taller than Zephyrians, with broad shoulders and thick limbs. Their skin was a brown color, and they had small eyes that pointed forward instead of to the sides. Everything about them said predator to Veltar's instincts. The leader removed his helmet, revealing a face that was weathered and scarred. His hair was gray, and his eyes were a strange blue color that seemed to look right through her. "Captain Veltar, I'm Jake Morrison. This is my team. Commander Lisa Hayes, Chief Engineer Pete Johnson, and Dr. Susan Carter." Each human was different from the others. Lisa Hayes was smaller than the captain, but carried herself like a warrior. Pete Johnson was heavy-set with strong hands that looked like they could tear metal apart. Dr. Carter was a female with kind eyes, but even she moved with the confident grace of a predator. "Welcome aboard the Gentle Current," Veltar said. "We are very grateful for your help." "Happy to help," Jake replied. "Take a look at their hull damage. Lisa, check their weapon systems. Sue, see if anyone needs medical attention." The humans moved through the ship with easy confidence. They didn't ask for directions or wait for permission. They simply went where they needed to go and began working. "Your ship is beautiful," Dr. Carter said to Veltar as they walked toward the medical bay. "The crystal hull design is amazing. How do you grow it?" "We don't build ships like other species," Veltar explained. "We sing them into existence. The crystals respond to certain sound frequencies and form the patterns we need." "Fascinating. Your whole civilization seems to be based on harmony and cooperation." "Yes, we believe that working together is the key to happiness and success." "What about your people?" Dr. Carter was quiet for a moment. "We cooperate too, but we learn to do it the hard way. Our planet is dangerous. Everything there tries to kill everything else. Had to learn to work together to survive." They reached the medical bay, where 3 injured Zephyrians were being treated by the ship's medical officer. Dr. Carter examined them quickly, her hands gentle but sure. "These injuries are from energy weapons," she said. "The burns are deep but clean. I can help with the healing process if you'd like." "That would be wonderful. But I must ask, your ship, your weapons, your technology, it's all so advanced. How long has your species been traveling in space? About 150 years? We're pretty new to this whole galactic civilization thing." Veltar's eyes widened. 150 years? But That's impossible. It takes most species thousands of years to develop interstellar travel. Most species don't come from death worlds, Dr. Carter said simply. We had to invent advanced technology just to survive on our home planet. Space travel was actually easier than dealing with some of the things that live on Earth. Meanwhile, in the engine room, Pete Johnson was looking at the Zephyrian power systems with professional interest. These crystals generate energy through harmonic resonance, he told engineer Kexran. It's elegant, but not very efficient. You're only getting about 12% of the theoretical maximum output. Is that bad? Kexran asked. Different. Our systems are designed for maximum power output. We need a lot of energy to run our weapons and shields. Why do you need such powerful weapons? Are your people always at war? Pete laughed. Not always. But we learned a long time ago that the universe is full of things that want to hurt peaceful people. Pirates, raiders, hostile aliens, they all think that being peaceful makes you weak. And you disagree? I know it's wrong. Peace is a choice, not a weakness. But to make that choice, you need to be strong enough to defend it. On the bridge, Commander Lisa Hayes was examining the Zephyrian control systems with Captain Morrison. Their sensors are incredibly sensitive, she told him. They can detect things we'd never notice. But their defensive systems are almost non-existent. That's what I expected, Jake replied. They're explorers, not warriors. They've never had to fight for their survival. Lucky them, Lisa said, but it makes them sitting ducks for anyone with hostile intentions. Veltar overheard this conversation. You speak of fighting and defense as if they're natural things. Don't your people ever try to solve problems peacefully? All the time, Jake assured her. We prefer talking to fighting, but sometimes you meet people who won't listen to words. When that happens, you need to be ready to use force. Like the pirates who attacked us, exactly like them. They saw a peaceful research ship and thought it would be easy prey. It weren't expecting anyone to fight back. As the humans continued their repairs, Veltar found herself both fascinated and disturbed by these strange beings. They were clearly intelligent and capable of great kindness. Their willingness to help strangers proved that. But they were also comfortable with violence in a way that no council species was. Captain Morrison, she said finally, what do you want in return for helping us? Jake looked surprised. Nothing. You needed help, and we were able to provide. That's enough. But surely you want something. Research, data, technology, territorial rights. Captain Veltar, where we come from. You help people because it's the right thing to do. No other reason needed. For the first time since the attack, Veltar felt truly safe. These humans were predators, yes, but they were predators who had chosen to protect instead of hunt. And in a galaxy full of dangers, that might be exactly what the peaceful species needed. 2 hours after the battle, the human repair teams had worked miracles on the gentle current. The hull breaches were sealed with a strange metal foam that hardened into patches stronger than the original crystal. The life support systems were running at full capacity again, and the engines were humming with more power than they had ever produced before. Captain Veltar walked through her ship with Pete Johnson, amazed at what the humans had accomplished in such a short time. How did you repair our crystal hull with metal? She asked. We didn't repair it, Pete explained. We reinforced it. The metal patches will hold until you can get to a proper shipyard. But I've got to tell you, this crystal design is beautiful, but not very practical for dangerous situations. We've never needed our ships to be strong, Veltar said. The galaxy is a peaceful place. Pete stopped walking and looked at her seriously. Captain, with respect, the galaxy is not a peaceful place. You've just been lucky to live in the peaceful parts of it. There are whole sectors out there where ships like yours wouldn't last a day. What do you mean? I mean, there are places where pirates and raiders control entire star systems? Places where slave traders hunt for ships full of peaceful people like you? Places where alien empires fight wars that destroy whole worlds? Veltar felt a chill run through her body. The Galactic Council maintains order. We have laws against such things. Laws only work when people follow them, Pete said gently. And some people don't care about laws at all. Meanwhile, on the bridge of the UES Ranger, Captain Jake Morrison was having a video conference with his superiors. Back on Earth, the holographic image of Admiral Frank Torres appeared above the communication table, his weathered face showing concern. "Jake, we're getting reports of increased pirate activity in that sector. The attack on the Zephyrian ship might not be an isolated incident." "I was thinking the same thing, Admiral. These Korthok pirates were well organized and well equipped. They knew exactly what they were doing." "What's your assessment of the local species?" Jake looked thoughtful. "They're peaceful, advanced, and completely defenseless. They've built a civilization based on cooperation and trust. It's admirable, but it also makes them perfect targets for anyone with hostile intentions. And they've never encountered humans. Before, no, sir? They've never heard of Earth or the Terran Federation. As far as they know, we just appeared out of nowhere." Admiral Torres was quiet for a moment. "This could be an opportunity, Jake. If we can establish good relations with these people, we might be able to help them defend themselves. They might be able to help us understand this part of the galaxy." "I agree, sir. We need to be careful. They're not used to dealing with predator species. We might scare them if we're not careful. Continue to assist them, but try to gather information about their civilization and technology. And Jake, keep your eyes open. If there are more pirates in this area, we might need to do something about it." Back on the gentle current, Dr. Susan Carter was having a very different conversation with the Zephyrian medical officer. They were in the ship's medical bay, treating the last of the wounded crew members. "Your anatomy is fascinating," Dr. Carter said as she worked. "Your people have redundant organ systems that make you very resistant to injury, but you also have no natural pain tolerance at all." "Pain is a warning system," replied Medical Officer Zixana. "When we feel pain, we know something is wrong and we fix it. Why would we want to ignore such an important signal?" On Earth, ignoring pain can sometimes mean the difference between life and death. If you're being chased by a predator, you can't stop to treat a minor injury. You have to keep running until you're safe. How terrible. Your world sounds like a nightmare. Dr. Carter smiled sadly. "In some ways, it is, but it's also beautiful. The same forces that made our planet dangerous also made it incredibly diverse and vibrant. Every ecosystem is a constant struggle for survival, and that struggle creates amazing adaptations. Is that why humans are so comfortable with violence? We're not comfortable with it," Dr. Carter corrected. "We're just used to it. There's a difference. We don't enjoy fighting, but we're good at it because we had to be." In the ship's main conference room, Commander Lisa Hayes was meeting with the senior Zephyrian officers. She had been asked to explain human military tactics, and she was finding it difficult to translate concepts that were second nature to her. "You have to understand," she told them, "human military doctrine is based on the idea that your enemy is trying to kill you. Everything we do is designed around that assumption." "But surely most conflicts can be resolved through negotiation," said Science Officer Nixara. "Many can," Lisa agreed, "but not all. Some people negotiate in bad faith. They pretend to want peace while secretly planning to attack. Others simply don't care about anything except taking what they want. Like the pirates who attacked us," Captain Veltar said quietly. "Exactly. Those pirates weren't interested in fair trade or mutual benefit. They just wanted to take your research data and leave you to die. The only language they understand is force." Navigation Officer Zixrin looked puzzled. "But how do you know when someone is negotiating in bad faith? How do you know when to fight and when to talk?" Lisa considered this carefully. "Experience mostly. You learn to recognize the signs, but the key is to be prepared for both options. Always hope for peace, but be ready for war." "That sounds exhausting," Nixara said. "It is," Lisa admitted. "But it's also the reason we're alive." As the day went on, the humans continued to help repair the Zephyrian ship, but they also began to understand just how different their two species were. The Zephyrians had evolved in a galaxy where cooperation was the norm and violence was rare. The humans had evolved on a world where cooperation was essential for survival. But so was the ability to fight. Captain Morrison found himself in the ship's observation deck with Captain Veltar, looking out at the stars. "Your people have built something remarkable," he told her. "Civilization based on peace and mutual respect. It's what we hope to achieve someday. But you don't think it's possible? I think it's possible, but only if someone is willing to defend it. Peace isn't the absence of conflict, Captain. It's the presence of justice. And sometimes, justice requires force. Veltar was quiet for a long time. Our philosophers have debated these questions for centuries. They always concluded that violence only creates more violence. Your philosophers were lucky to live in a place where they could afford to think that way, Jake said. In the darker parts of the galaxy, that kind of thinking gets peaceful people killed. Is that why you carry such powerful weapons? To protect people like us? It's part of it. But mostly, we carry them because we've learned that the universe is full of things that want to hurt innocent people. Pirates, raiders, hostile empires, dangerous aliens, they all exist, and they all need to be stopped. You've appointed yourselves to stop them? Jake smiled grimly. Not appointed, volunteered. Someone has to do it, and we're good at it. As evening approached, the repairs on the gentle current were nearly complete. The Zephyrian ship was not only functional again, but actually stronger than it had been before the attack. The humans had upgraded several systems and added basic defensive measures. We've installed emergency shields in a simple point defense, System Pete Johnson explained to the Zephyrian crew. It won't stop a determined attack, but it will give you time to call for help. And we've upgraded your communications array, added Lisa Hayes. You can now broadcast on military frequencies, as well as civilian ones. If you're in trouble, we'll hear you. Captain Veltar felt a mixture of gratitude and sadness. You've given us so much. How can we repay you? Just keep doing what you're doing, Jake replied. Keep exploring, keep learning, keep showing the galaxy that different species can work together. That's worth more than any payment. As he said it, Jake knew that the Zephyrians' peaceful existence was fragile. The pirates they had fought today were just the beginning. Somewhere out there, more threats were gathering. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, but it was also full of dangers, and the humans were starting to realize that they might be the only ones capable of standing against those dangers. As the U.S. Ranger prepared to leave, Captain Morrison made a decision that would change everything. He opened a channel to the Zephyrian ship. Captain Veltar, I'm going to leave a communication beacon in this system. If you ever need help, activate it. We'll come running. Thank you, Captain Morrison. But why would you do this for strangers? Because that's what people do for each other. At least that's what they should do. The human ship disappeared into hyperspace, leaving the Zephyrians alone with their thoughts and their newly repaired vessel. But they were no longer the same people who had been attacked by pirates that morning. They had met the humans, and they had learned that the galaxy was both more dangerous and more hopeful than they had ever imagined. And somewhere in the darkness between the stars, the humans were already planning their next move. 3 days after the rescue, the gentle current arrived at Zephyria Prime, the homeworld of Captain Veltar's people. The news of their encounter with the humans had traveled fast, and the entire Galactic Council was buzzing with excitement and concern. The Zephyrian High Council called an emergency meeting. Representatives from 12 different species gathered in the great crystal chamber beneath the capital city. The room was filled with beings of all shapes and sizes, the tall, thin Altarians with their silver skin, the small, furry Keplerians with their large eyes, the aquatic Cetians and their water-filled hover tanks. Captain Veltar stood before them all, still wearing her damaged uniform from the attack. Beside her, a large holographic display showed images of the human ship and recordings of the battle. Honored council members, she began. I stand before you today because of the intervention of a species we had never encountered before. They call themselves humans, and they saved our lives without asking for anything in return. Elder Thoxeron of the Altarians leaned forward. Tell us about these humans, Captain. What are they like? Veltar chose her words carefully. They are unlike any species in our database. They are bipedal, similar to us in basic body shape, but larger and much stronger. Their eyes face forward like predators, and they move with the confidence of beings who have never been prey. Predators. The words sent a ripple of unease through the chamber. Most council species had evolved from prey animals or peaceful omnivores. The idea of a predator species achieving intelligence was disturbing to many of them. Yes, But not in the way you might think, Veltar continued. They are protective predators. They use their hunting instincts to defend the innocent, not to attack them. She activated the holographic display, showing the battle between the human ship and the Korthok pirates. The council members watched in stunned silence as the UES Ranger destroyed one pirate ship and crippled another in a matter of minutes. By the stars, whispered Counselor Nexera of the Kaplerians. What kind of weapons are those? They call. Them kinetic weapons, Veltar explained. They fire solid metal objects at incredible speeds. The humans told me these projectiles travel at 12% of light speed. The council erupted in shocked whispers. Such velocities required enormous amounts of energy and extremely advanced technology. How long have they been spacefaring? Asked Elder Thoxerin. Less than 200 years. The chamber fell silent. 200 years was nothing in galactic terms. Most species took thousands of years to develop interstellar travel, and even longer to create such advanced weapons. There must be some mistake, said Counselor Zalith of the Cetians, his voice bubbling through his water tank speakers. No species develops that quickly unless they are driven by constant warfare. That's exactly what happened, Veltar said quietly. Their homeworld is what they call a death world. Everything on their planet is dangerous. They had to develop advanced technology just to survive. She activated another display, showing some of the information the humans had shared about Earth. Pictures of massive storms, deadly predators, and hostile environments filled the holographic space. Their planet has gravity twice as strong as most of our worlds, she continued. Their weather includes violent storms that can destroy entire cities. They share their world with predators that hunt in organized packs, poisonous creatures that can kill with a single bite, and diseases that can wipe out entire populations. The council members stared at the images in horror. Such a world seemed like a nightmare to beings who had evolved on peaceful garden worlds. How did they survive such conditions? Asked Elder Thoxerin. By becoming stronger, smarter, and more cooperative than anything else on their planet. They learned to work together because they had to. Individual humans are tough, but groups of humans are nearly unstoppable. Counselor Nexara looked troubled. But surely such a violent background makes them dangerous to peaceful species like ourselves? I thought so too at first, Veltar admitted. But I was wrong. Yes, they are comfortable with violence in ways that we are not, but they only use that violence to protect others. When they saved us, they could have demanded anything in return. Our research, our technology, even our lives. Instead, they asked for nothing except the knowledge that we were safe. She paused, remembering her conversations with the human crew. Their doctor treated our wounded with the same care she would show her own people. Their engineer repaired our ship and made it stronger than before. Their captain shared information about dangers in this sector and left us a way to call for help if we needed it. What do they want from us? Asked Counselor Zalith. Nothing, Veltar said simply. They helped us because they believed it was the right thing to do. But I think there's something we need to understand about them. They see the galaxy very differently than we do. She activated a recording of her conversation with Captain Morrison. His weathered face appeared in the hologram, and his rough voice filled the chamber. Peace isn't the absence of conflict, Captain. It's the presence of justice. And sometimes, justice requires force. The council members listened as the human captain explained his philosophy. Many of them shifted uncomfortably. At his casual discussion of warfare and violence, they believe that our peaceful civilization exists only because we've been lucky, Veltar continued. They think that there are forces in the galaxy that would destroy everything we've built, and that someone needs to be strong enough to stop them. Surely they exaggerate, said Elder Thoxerin. The galaxy has been at peace for over 1,000 years, has it? Veltar challenged. Or have we simply been ignoring the parts of the galaxy where peace doesn't exist? The humans spoke of entire sectors controlled by pirates and raiders, of slave traders and hostile empires. They said there are places where ships like ours wouldn't last a day. The chamber was quiet as the council members considered this. They had all heard rumors of trouble in the Outer Rim territories, but such places seemed so far away from their civilized worlds. "Even if this is true," said Counselor Nexera, "what does it have to do with us? We have laws against such activities." "Laws only work when people follow them." Veltar repeated the words Pete Johnson had said to her. "The pirates who attacked us didn't care about our laws. They only understood force." Over the next several hours, Veltar told the council everything she had learned about the humans. She described their advanced technology, their military organization, and their strange philosophy that combined protective instincts with deadly efficiency. "They offered to leave communication beacons in our territory," she concluded. "If any of our ships are threatened, we can call for help, and they will come." "At what cost?" asked Counselor Zaleth suspiciously. "No cost. They want nothing in return except the knowledge that innocent people are safe." Elder Thoxeron stood slowly. "This is all very troubling. Species of predators with advanced weapons offering to protect us. How do we know they won't eventually turn those weapons against us?" "Because they had the chance to do exactly that," Veltar replied. "My ship was helpless. My crew was injured. They could have taken anything they wanted. Instead, they repaired our damage, healed our wounded, and left us stronger than before." So the debate continued for hours. Some council members were intrigued by the possibility of having powerful protectors. Others were frightened by the idea of allying with a predator species. Still others questioned whether the humans were telling the truth about the dangers in the galaxy. Finally, Elder Thoxeron called for order. "We need more information before we can make any decisions. Captain Veltar, you will return to your ship and continue your research mission. But you will also serve as our unofficial ambassador to these humans. If they contact you again, learn everything you can about them. And if they offer help again, accept it, but carefully. We need to understand what kind of beings we're dealing with." As the council session ended, Veltar felt a mixture of excitement and apprehension. The humans had opened her eyes to a larger, more dangerous galaxy than she had ever imagined. But they had also shown her that there were beings willing to stand against that danger. The question was whether the peaceful species of the council were ready to accept help from predators. Even predators who had chosen to protect rather than hunt, meanwhile. In the depths of space, Captain Morrison was having his own discussions with Earth Command. The holographic image of Admiral Torres flickered slightly due to the enormous distance. "Local species are peaceful but naive," Jake reported. "They've built an impressive civilization, but they have no concept of military defense. They're sitting ducks for anyone with hostile intentions." "And your assessment of the threat level in that sector? High and getting higher?" "The pirates we fought were well organized and well equipped. I think they're testing the defenses of the local species, probing for weaknesses." "Recommendations?" Jake was quiet for a moment. "We need to establish a permanent presence in this area. These people need protection, and we're the only ones capable of providing it. But we have to be careful. They're not used to dealing with military forces." "Understood. I'm authorizing the deployment of a small patrol squadron to your sector. You'll have overall command." 6 months after Captain Veltar's rescue, the galaxy was a very different place. News of the humans had spread from system to system, carried by traders, diplomats, and survivors of pirate attacks who had been saved by human intervention. The Galactic Council had finally agreed to meet with the humans officially. The meeting was held on Harmony Station, a massive space station built by 7 different species working together. It was meant to be a symbol of peaceful cooperation, but today it felt more like a fortress surrounded by uncertainty. Ambassador Helen Wright stood in the main conference chamber, looking out at the dozens of alien representatives who had come to meet with humanity. She had been chosen for this mission because of her skill with languages and her calm personality. But even she felt nervous facing so many different species at once. Beside her stood Admiral Frank Torres, his dress uniform decorated with medals from a dozen different conflicts. He had been chosen to represent Earth's military forces, and his presence was meant to reassure the aliens that humanity took their security seriously. Honored representatives of the Galactic Council, Ambassador Wright began, "We come here today, not as conquerors or invaders, but as neighbors who want to help protect the peace you have built." Elder Thoxeron, of the Altarians spoke first. Ambassador Wright, we have heard many stories about your people in recent months. Some say you are saviors who rescue innocent ships from pirates. Others say you are warriors who solve every problem with violence. Which is true? Both, in a way, the ambassador replied honestly. We prefer peaceful solutions to every problem. But we have learned that not every problem can be solved peacefully. When someone attacks innocent people, sometimes the only answer is to stop them by force. Counselor Zalith of the Cetians bubbled nervously in his water tank. But how do we know you won't turn those same weapons against us someday? Your military power far exceeds anything we possess. Admiral Torres stepped forward, because we've had opportunities to do exactly that, and we haven't. In the past 6 months, our ships have encountered 17 different council species. We could have demanded tribute, claimed territory, or forced you to serve us. Instead, we've helped repair damaged ships, escorted merchant vessels through dangerous areas, and driven off pirates and raiders. And what do you want in return? Asked Representative Kixella of the Vegan Confederacy. Partnership Ambassador Wright said simply, we want to learn from you, and we want you to learn from us. Your technology is amazing in ways ours isn't. Your sensors, your energy systems, your medical knowledge, they could help us become better at protecting people. And our military technology and experience could help keep your civilizations safe. Captain Veltar, who had been invited to attend as an observer, stood up. If I may speak, honored council members, 6 months ago, my ship was attacked by pirates. Without human intervention, my entire crew would have died. Since then, human ships have prevented 14 more attacks in Zephyrian space alone. They ask for nothing except the knowledge that innocent people are safe. But at what cost? Demanded Counselor Nexera of the Caplerians. Already, we hear reports of council species requesting human protection. Some are even asking humans to establish permanent bases in their systems. Are we trading our independence for security? Admiral Torres shook his head. We don't want to control anybody. We want to teach you to defend yourselves. Right now, most of your species have no military capabilities at all. It makes you perfect. Targets for anyone with hostile intentions. He activated a holographic display showing the Outer Rim territories. Red dots marked areas where pirate activity had been reported. And there were far more red dots than anyone in the council had realized. This is what the galaxy really looks like, he continued. Your peaceful core worlds are surrounded by chaos. Pirates, raiders, slave traders, and hostile empires control huge areas of space. They've been growing stronger while you've been living. In peace, the alien representatives stared at the display in shock. They had known about some pirate activity, but this was far worse than anyone had imagined. Why haven't we heard about this before? Asked Elder Thoxeron. Because it wasn't happening to you, Ambassador Wright explained gently. The pirates and raiders focused on unaligned worlds, independent colonies, and species that weren't part of the council. You didn't see it because you weren't looking. And now? Asked Counselor Zalith. Now they're getting bolder. The attack on Captain Veltera's ship was a test. They wanted to see if council species would fight back. When they learned you couldn't defend yourselves, they started planning larger operations. Admiral Torres switched the display to show recent intelligence reports. In the past month, we've detected 3 major pirate fleets moving toward council space. They're planning coordinated attacks on multiple systems. Without intervention, thousands of innocent people will die. The chamber erupted in worried conversations. Representatives called out questions in a dozen different languages, their voices mixing into a cacophony of fear and confusion. Ambassador Wright raised her hand for silence. We're not here to frighten you. We're here to offer you a choice. You can continue as you have been, hoping that diplomacy and good intentions will protect you from those who don't share your values. Or you can accept our help and learn to defend the peace you've built. What exactly are you proposing? Asked Elder Thoxeron. A joint defense initiative, Admiral Torres replied. We'll provide military advisors to help you develop defense capabilities. We'll patrol the most dangerous areas of space. We'll teach your people how to protect themselves. In exchange for what? Scientific cooperation? Ambassador Wright said. Medical technology could help us treat injuries and diseases we've never encountered. Your sensor technology could help us detect threats earlier. Your energy systems could make our ships more efficient. We're not asking you to give us anything. We're asking you to share knowledge so we can both become stronger. Captain Veltar stood again. Honored council members, I have spent the past 6 months studying human culture and technology. They are not perfect beings. They make mistakes. They sometimes argue among themselves, and their approach to problems is very different from ours. But they are also honest, loyal, and completely dedicated to protecting innocent life. She paused, looking around the chamber. 6 months ago, I thought the galaxy was a safe place where reasonable beings could always find peaceful solutions. To their problems, I was wrong. There are forces out there that want to destroy everything we've built, and they don't care about our laws or our philosophy. Without the humans, we would be defenseless against them. The debate continued for hours. Some representatives argued that accepting human protection would make the council dependent on military force. Others insisted that the threat was too great to ignore. Still others worried about the long-term consequences of allying with a predator. Species. Finally, Elder Thoxerin called for a vote. All those in favor of establishing the Joint Defense Initiative with the Terran Federation. The vote was close, but the proposal passed. 17 species voted in favor, 12 voted against, and 6 abstained. Ambassador Wright smiled with relief. Thank you for your trust. We won't let you down. Over the following months, human advisors began working with Council military forces. Most Council species had never developed real military capabilities, so everything had to be built from scratch. The humans taught them about tactics, strategy, and the proper use of defensive weapons. The transformation was remarkable. Within a year, former research vessels were equipped with shields and point defense systems. Trade ships traveled in convoys protected by armed escorts. Border systems established early warning networks that could detect approaching threats. Captain Jake Morrison found himself promoted to admiral and placed in charge of the Joint Defense Force. His flagship, the U's Guardian, patrolled the border between Council space and the lawless regions beyond. Admiral called Commander Lisa Hayes from her position at the tactical station. We're receiving a distress call from the Andromedan system. Multiple ships under attack by unknown hostiles. Set course for Andromeda, Jake ordered. All ships prepare for combat operations. As the Guardian and its escort fleet jumped to hyperspace, Jake reflected on how much had changed. A year ago, the peaceful species of the Council had been helpless against any serious threat. Now they had the beginnings of a real defense force. Trained by humans but commanded by their own people, the distress call they were answering came from a mixed convoy of 5 different species. The ships were under attack by raiders from the Nexus Empire, a hostile alien government that had been expanding aggressively into Council territory. When the human fleet arrived, the battle was already underway. Council ships were fighting, back with their new weapons and tactics, but they were still outnumbered and outgunned. This is Admiral Morrison of the Joint Defense Force. Jake broadcast to both sides. Nexus ships, you are attacking peaceful vessels in Council space. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences. The Nexus commander's response was predictable. Unknown ships, this is no concern of yours. Withdraw or be destroyed. Negative. You're here under the authority of the Galactic Council. Last warning.